Hello everybody, how are we all doing? We have a new Only Hands kit review here, and it's the new Khorne Berzerkers. Thank you very much to Games Workshop for sending them out a review copy. I'm really excited about these, but not for the reasons that you think. I'm going to build these as an elite choice for my Night Lords, which is going to be really cool. But let's go and have a look at the sprues. They're an incredibly packed sprue. Again, it's another kit that is, I can't even get the sprues out. It's another kit that is on 3 sprues, which is great. Gives you plenty of options and choices. As you can see, I've already built one because I've got some bits left over. That's from the Raaaaaargh. And so we have, let's get this in focus properly. So we've got 3 sprues. Let's get rid of those for a second. We have some transfers. Very world eatery, very corny, so going to be very good for Chaos Rhinos, and get these scattered all over your Chaos Rhinos. Chaos Rhinos would be really cool if they were like classic Horus Heresy World Eaters white. I think that would be awesome. But yeah, red Chaos Rhinos. You just end up with an entirely red army. Entirely red army. I don't know. What's the thoughts on doing like half and half, like some red, some old classic white, as if it's been repurposed and lasted a bit longer? I don't know. It might look a little bit more interesting. But all red. Does it get boring? I'm not sure. Anyway, cool, really cool set of transfers. You're not really going to need a lot of these. These are more for the Legionnaires, because these ones. Let's find one. There we go. So on the kit, you have World Eaters logos on the shoulder pads, so that's absolutely fine. And you do get enough for an entire unit. So you only get 10, but you do get some extra ones on the other side as well. Anyway, so yeah, transfer sheet, good for tanks, good for vehicles. Larger ones will be really useful for vehicles for those of you who don't want to freehand or just haven't got the time. I love using transfers on my vehicles because it takes away the effort of doing something nice and neatly like this, and then of course you can chip it away and you lose one of the issues, well, not really issues, but one of the things that I find about putting transfers on is that they're really fine and detailed, and the scale of them compared to the other painting on the model is really fine. So I find that, like, for instance, this one, if you zoom in, let's just zoom in and show you this one. So the scale on this one, if you were to compare this, I haven't got anything handy other than a sister at the moment, but if you were to compare that quickly to a model that we've painted, and this is like an army standard model, but the scale of all the little touches and the little marks on that is completely different. So when you do put transfers on, I do like kind of chipping them away, and that kind of brings the scale back into it a little bit. So anyway, there we go. Slight diversion. We're getting sidetracked already. So we'll get those out of the way. This is the instruction manual. It's obviously incredibly well used already because I've been flicking through it trying to learn what everything is, and we've got some bases. Let's get rid of those. 32mm. Great. Right, let's have a look at the sprues. So I've already clicked off some of the parts because I have built one. The sprues themselves, very packed with stuff. Because Khorne Berzerkers don't really get that many options, there's not that many options on the sprue. So sorry, you can't see the sprue. Dear. Right, come on, Chris. So yeah, there's not that many options on the sprue itself. There are some alternative shoulder pads which are actually really nice. I've got one that I've built, so I'll show you that. So the alternative shoulder pad is up here, and there are specific arms that it's supposed to fit on. Let's see if I can find one. There we go. There's one. So it's these bare arms here, where there we go. I'll zoom in for you. The bare arms here have a slightly shorter and more stubby little shoulder pad mount compared to the traditional round Space Marine ones. So these stubby ones here, so you end up with a bare arm and then the little stocky shoulder pad like that. Now this, don't get excited about this because this isn't from this kit. Excuse me, I got hiccups. So this one is from the Lord Invictus kit, which is absolutely gorgeous. We'll just bring that on quickly, yeah, you get plenty of weapons with this with this model, and I'll just use one of them on here. So they're very dynamic. I mean, this guy's absolutely charging forward. I've leaned him forward a tiny bit further on the base just to get a tiny bit more angles on him to accentuate the fact that the axe is out in front, but they're really cool even without this axe. Like, imagine if he had just a bolt pistol on there with his arm outstretched, because there is arm outstretched plasma pistols, arm outstretched bolt pistols, and everything like that. So you can do some really cool stuff. This, as I said, this is going to be my Night Lords, so I have put a plain Chaos Legionnaire shoulder pad on there so that I can put my Night Lord symbol on it. But you do get in the kit, you get 10 of these half shoulder pads for the bare arms. One thing that you will like is that they do fit quite nicely on regular size shoulder pads, so you don't really see a difference. So that's a stubby one on a regular shoulder pad, kind of mounting joint there. You can see a little bit of the mounting plate, but not that much, particularly when it's up here and you're looking at it from the top. So they do fit on both arms. It's just that they're not particularly designed to be. Yeah, so you only get, I say only, you get 10 of these stubby ones, you get 10 of the World Eaters ones, and then 10 of these Khorne ones. So very Khorne, Khorne all the way, all the skulls, all the blood, and yeah, I really like the kind of the short ones, to be honest. So that's why he's got that short one on, and then you get about 10 heads, about maybe 12. I think you get 12 bear heads. So you get 9 there, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so you get more. You get 15 bear heads, and then you get 10 helmet heads. So these are the helmet heads here. So there's the 8, and then there's 2 more on. 2 more on. There are 2 more on one of the sprues. Why can't you see the helmet heads? Anyway, there's 2 more. There we go. I'll put the top there. So you get 10 of the helmet heads. You get plenty of the bear heads. Now, the only option really in the kit themselves, in the unit, is between the chainsword / chain axe over the heavy chain axe and heavy chain glaive. So there's the heavy chain axe. So that's a heavy chain axe there. We'll just zoom back in. You don't need to see my Necron coins. This is a Khorne Berzerker video. We are not here for the Necrons. Anyway, the heavy chain axe and the heavy chain glaive. So there's a heavy chain axe, and the heavy chain glaive is on the other one here. So there's the chain glaive. That's really cool. If I can see that one being used all over the flesh tearers. It's not that Khorne. You can very easily fill in that bit. Yeah, so that's the only real options and war gear choices. There aren't that many of these sort of extra chains and skulls on the sprues. There's obviously the Chaos icon there as well, but having a quick look at them, there's not that much. I always have a look over the sprues to see if there's anything tricky to snip out. There isn't really. The only one that I would maybe look at is something like this icon here. So because even this one, if you're clipping this out here, if I clip, get that in focus for you. If I clip that one there, there's going to be plenty of flexibility in there, so it's not going to stress it. So it's just going to move. You're not going to get any stress fractures in there because of the length of the chain. However, this one here, we're just going to practice. We're just going to see. Let's zoom right in so that you can see. It's one of the things I like doing on the kit reviews anyway. So I don't want to. I'm going to use just the tip of the pliers Yeah, so you can see we get a little bit of a stress fracture there as we're clipping that. What's the best way of clipping all this out then? I'll probably go that one there, move that one up. I'd probably go these two. See, even that's going to be moving that. This one here. And then once you've done that, you will, if you just kind of click it out a little bit, you should then be able to click out the, there we go. So you can then click out the skulls and you won't get any stress fractures. There we go. So you won't get any stress fractures around the mounting points, because they are quite, I mean, so one of the good things about the Games Workshop plastic now is it is really, really sturdy. It is very elastic but strong. They say in athletics that to be strong is to be flexible. So these are very elastic. These are very flexible, but they're not going to kind of break anywhere. It's the same with this guy as well. He's only held on with 2 feet, but he's not going to go anywhere. This guy's rock solid, and I've actually tweaked him as well a little bit. I've lengthened and straightened out these joins so that you just get a little bit more of a nicer silhouette underneath him, so he's a bit more upright. Yeah, this guy's really cool. Just very quick bonus content for you all. This is the Lord Invictus. Anyway, the Lord on the Juggernaut. I absolutely love Juggernauts. I had about 1,000 point Juggernaut army in 40k in 3rd edition. Really cool. It made no sense on the tabletop at all. So this has been slightly converted. So this is a Varanguard sword and a Varanguard head. As you can see, everything else is as is. Apart from I've trimmed off the World Eaters logos behind there and put on a flayed one hand, flayed one arm, and then a skull, because I'm going to paint this one up as Night Lords as well, and then he can just be a narrative Chaos Lord on a Juggernaut for my Night Lords. I'm still not entirely sure about the head. I do kind of like it, but Night Lords don't particularly fall to demonic possession quite as much as some of the other legions. But hey, it looks cool, right? Yeah, there we go. So that's that guy. Looks brilliant. Let's have a look at the model again just before we go, without dropping him. I am going to get this one primed and painted up today, so hopefully along with the video you will be able to see this guy painted up as a Night Lord, which is cool. One thing I did do is I put a little bit of an offcut of plastic. You can kind of just see underneath his head. Put a little bit of an offcut of plastic just to lift his head up a little bit, just because it sat a little bit low, and I wanted it a little bit more visible when you get this angle here. It was just dropping underneath the shoulder pad a little bit. But other than that, I mean, they really are very cool models. All the models are very dynamic. I will probably try to do some of my trademark #torso twists on some of them. The tricky bit of these, tricky bit about that is that they're all half and half, and they've got the registration slices go into and across the waist, so it's going to be a little bit tricky to trim a torso straight off and then cut it, but we will see. But yeah, and there we go. So that is 3 really nice compact sprues. Good little bit of variety with the heads. Not a lot of variety with the additional extras. So if you think back to the intercessors, you get pouches and purity seals for days and things. On this one, you really only get 1 extra bit, which is probably just going to be for the champion. And but it's fab, and I do like these. I really like these little half size shoulder pads. I think they're fab. I want some simpler ones. I want some without the Khorne iconography on to use on some of my other models. They're fab. Anyway, so these are going to get painted up as Night Lords. They're going to be my Night Lords elite unit. Thank you very much, everybody. That has been another Only Hands kit review from Chris. Make sure you drop me a follow, please. Like and subscribe. Please share as well if you're liking my content, because I'm going to do as much as I can. I'm really enjoying doing all this stuff. I am live on Twitch mostly 3 times a week, 3 or 4 times a week. So that's twitch.tv/Chris Frossin. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Chris Frossin as well. And if you check the description down below, you'll be able to find links to all of those, including my Patreon as well, which is, surprise, surprise, Chris Frossin. So thank you very much, everybody. And from Mr. Khorne Berzerker himself, blah!